I am so nervous about dipping my toes back into the piranha pool that is the RWBY fandom, but this is something that'll bug me for a while if I don't get it off my chest. RWBY has great music. I love it. Everyone loves it. And the fact that the lyrics are often tied to characters and their arcs is incredibly interesting, and adds a lot of enjoyment to those who are able to pick up on that fact. But I cannot get behind the fact that many of the songs in RWBY's soundtrack contain canon information that is never mentioned in the show. Let me explain. A few months ago, I reviewed RWBY Volume 5. And in my review, I made this statement. Other villains we have include the amazing Cinder, whose motivation is that she's evil and she likes to be evil. Afterwards, I received a comment telling me that I was wrong, and that Cinder's motivations were very clear if I listened to her Image song. So, like a good boy, I educated myself. I looked up the lyrics of the song, I looked up some analysis videos, and after all that, I've come to one very simple conclusion. It's all bull. Not the backstory, it's fine, but the fact that the backstory of a major villain, or primary antagonist no less, is completely hidden from the general audience, such as myself, is completely stupid. If I just watched the show, didn't make a video, didn't watch any videos about it, if I was just a generic viewer, how in the world was I ever supposed to learn this information? This is interesting stuff, way more compelling than the crappy non-character that Cinder is in the show, and the only reason I know anything about the character is because people that happened to watch my review knew more than I did. I know that this is what RWBY has been doing since the very first trailer. Red like roses. Try saying that 3 times fast. Anyway, it's full of stuff that can be clearly interpreted as foreshadowing for each of the 4 main characters, and I am totally fine with that. Hinting that Blake is a Faunus is something that is interesting, but it's also something that's revealed in the show anyway. Same thing for a song like Ignite from Volume 5. This is a song about Yang, and it explores her character, but it doesn't specifically tell us anything that the show doesn't. That's perfectly acceptable, and it's actually pretty cool. But then also in Volume 5 soundtrack, you get a song like Smile, which is basically being used to fill in the gaps of Ellie's backstory. Again, is it interesting? Yes. Should we be seeing it instead of interpreting it from song lyrics? Yes. And here's another point. The song that the comment told me was about Cinder was Sacrifice. So naturally I looked up a video about that, and the video explaining the song proclaims it to be a song about Raven, not Cinder. So there's literally disagreements about what these songs even mean. How can anyone be expected to rely on song lyrics for important information since they're completely down to personal interpretation? Volume 5 especially is full of scenes of people just talking. There's no excuse for not having scenes explaining this important information in the show. Knowing the backstory and motivations of our primary antagonists is important information. Knowing why we're supposed to not trust Ozpin is important information. And the fact that a day one viewer like me didn't know any of this until now is really goddamn bad. Imagine for a second you were watching Star Wars, and Darth Vader, he never revealed that he was Luke Skywalker's father, and the only way anyone could find out that information was through the lyrics of a song that isn't even in that scene. Well, that would be pretty stupid, wouldn't it? Now it seems to me that most of the fandom has just accepted that this is part of the show, and that's completely insane. Forcing the audience to interpret essential information from song lyrics isn't storytelling. I'm sorry, but it just isn't. Learning about this musical storytelling has only increased my growing resentment for this show, and if Volume 6 continues to use music as a storytelling device, then I think I'm done with the show. Story is basically the only thing keeping me on board right now, and if the show is going to treat me like an idiot for not analysing the soundtrack, then I see no reason to continue giving it my time. Well, that's about it. Thank you for watching to the end and all that. I know this was basically just me ranting for a while, but I just find it so ridiculous that they use music as a storytelling device like this. The reason I didn't mention it in my previous video is because I just never assumed it would be that sort of thing. Anyway, if you feel like watching more, you can click down that side if you want to watch the other RWBY video, and you can click that side if you want to watch the playlist. There's mostly gaming stuff, but you know, if you're watching a RWBY video, you're probably a nerd anyway. That's me. Bye bye.